Have you ever just stopped for a second to think about the incredible magic that's packed into the screens we use every single day? Our phones, our TVs, they're literally our windows to the world. But what's actually going on behind that glass? Well, today, we're going to find out. I mean, really, think about it. How does this smooth piece of glass in your hand or that big screen on your wall create such vivid, beautiful images? How does it connect you to, well, to everything? It totally feels like magic, right? But it's all technology. And the good news is, it's not impossible to understand. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and break it all down, piece by piece. We're going from the tiniest little pixel all the way up to the cloud. So let's dive in. All right, first up, the magic of your screens. Before we get into all the nitty-gritty about pixels and processors, we have to grasp the one big idea that makes it all possible. And here's a hint. It isn't just one invention. It's a powerful mashup of different technologies. The real secret sauce here is a blend of three powerful worlds. First, you've got electronics. That's the physical stuff, the hardware. Then you have computing, the software that brings that hardware to life. And finally, you've got telecommunications, the connection that ties it all together with the rest of the world. And when these three worlds merge, you get something called technological convergence. This is the reason your phone isn't just a phone anymore. It's a supercomputer, a professional-grade camera, and a gateway to the entire internet, all packed into one little device. This idea is basically the engine that runs our modern digital lives. Now, this convergence created a really important shift. See, it's one thing to have access to tons of information. That's what we'd call an information society. But it's a whole other ballgame to have the tools to actually use that information, to check it, compare it, and apply it. That's a knowledge society. You don't just read a headline anymore, do you? No. You can check other sources, watch videos about it, and argue with strangers across the globe about it, all on the same screen. That's knowledge in action. Okay, now for the main event, the pixel war. Let's zoom right into the part you see every day, the screen itself. Right now, there's a huge battle for which technology is best, and the two heavyweights in the ring are OLED and QLED. First in the ring, we have OLED. The O is for organic, but here's the part you really need to remember. With OLED, every single tiny pixel makes its own light. Just imagine millions of microscopic light bulbs. Each one can light up with a specific color, or, and this is key, it can turn off completely, becoming perfectly black. And in the other corner, we have QLED. You can think of this as a super advanced version of the LCD screens we've been using for years. It still needs a big, powerful light behind the screen, a backlight. But here's the cool part. It shines that light through a special layer of tiny crystals called quantum dots, and these dots are what create those super bright, vibrant colors. So how do they actually compare? Well, it all comes back to that backlight. Because OLED pixels can turn all the way off, you get perfect, true black. So in a dark movie scene, the black parts are actually black, not just a dark gray. It's way more realistic. QLED can't do that because its backlight is always on. But that same backlight lets QLED screens get incredibly bright, which is awesome if you're watching in a sunny room. And what about energy? Well, being able to turn off millions of little pixels means OLED screens generally use about 15% less power. Okay, so we've looked at the screen, but what's actually making it work? Let's go behind the glass and check out the invisible engine. We're talking about the hardware and memory doing all the heavy lifting. Every single smart device has a brain, and it's called the microprocessor. This is the chip that's running the whole show. It handles everything from doing complicated math to managing the ports you plug your cables into, like your HDMI or USB. It really is the command center. And just like our own brains, these devices use two different kinds of memory that have to work together perfectly. So let's break that down real quick. First up, you've got volatile memory, but you probably know it as RAM. Think of this as your device's short-term memory, or its scratchpad. When you're using an app, all its data is sitting in RAM, so you can get to it super fast. But it's temporary. The moment you turn off the power, poof, everything in the RAM is gone. And then you have non-volatile memory. This is the long-term stuff. This is your phone's storage or your computer's hard drive. It's where your operating system, all your apps, your photos, and your files are stored permanently. They stay there, safe and sound, even when the device is off. But nowadays, a device's memory isn't just what's physically inside it. Thanks to cloud computing, we can basically plug our devices into a massive, nearly infinite memory bank through the internet. This lets us store way more stuff and access our files from anywhere. It's a total game changer. So we've looked at the beautiful screen and the powerful engine behind it. Now let's look to the horizon. In our last section, let's talk about the future, which honestly is getting here a lot faster than you might think. The next huge jump is happening with 5G. And no, it's not just about faster movie downloads. The real magic is its incredibly low latency. That's the tiny, tiny delay between when you send a signal and when it's received. We're talking near instantaneous communication. This is what's going to make things like self-driving cars and truly smart homes a reality. And of course, that pixel war we were talking about, it's far from over. The technology is always evolving, and it looks like the next big thing is actually a hybrid of the two we just talked about. Get ready to meet QD OLED. So what is QD OLED? Well, the idea is pretty simple. Let's take the best of both worlds. It uses those self-lighting pixels from OLED to get those perfect inky blacks, but then it adds a layer of quantum dots, just like a QLED, to make the colors even more vibrant and bright. It's a fusion that's trying to give us the absolute best picture possible. So from a single pixel, to the processor, to the cloud, and out into these new lightning-fast networks, our world is changing at an incredible pace. All this technology is weaving itself deeper and deeper into our lives, building this truly hyper-connected society. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. Are we really ready for what comes next?